On the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, physical gatherings are being restricted to avoid the risk of virus infection, and we understand that sometimes it is hard, especially for our medical frontliners, to gather in a scheduled date and time due to their nature of work. Thus, we are redesigning the orientation to meet with the personnel's flexible time. You can view this video during your free time. Please make sure to finish the video, as a short test shall be provided to ensure understanding of the topics discussed. This presentation covers the following topics. First topic is an overview of the Republic Act 10173, or otherwise known as the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Second topic is to know what are personal information and its difference with sensitive personal information and privileged information. Third topic is the presentation of the roles and responsibilities of a personal information controller, a personal information processor, and a data protection officer. It will also discuss here what is a data subject and the rights of a data subject. Fourth topic pertains to the three general privacy principles, which are the transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality. Fifth topic covers security measures, which include the organizational, technical, and physical security measures. It also covers the data privacy in SPMC, the vision and mission of the Data Privacy Office, and a glimpse of the Data Sharing Agreement and the Confidentiality and Non-Disclosure Agreement. Sixth topic will touch on the definition of a data breach, the CIA triad, the different types of breach, and how to report a breach. Seventh topic defines cybersecurity and malicious attacks. Eighth topic presents the fines and penalties under the Data Privacy Act of 2012. The last topic will be tips to share to you on how to secure online data. The Republic Act 10173, or otherwise known as the Data Privacy Act of 2012, was approved into law last August 15, 2012. It was followed by the issuance of its implementing rules and regulations, or the IRR, and was put in effect last September 9, 2016, mandating all private and public institutions to comply. The Data Privacy Act protects individual personal information from unauthorized processing, ensuring that personal information and communication systems are secured and protected. The National Privacy Commission, or NPC, an independent body, was created under the Republic Act 10173, or the Data Privacy Act of 2012. It was mandated to administer and implement the provisions of this act, and to monitor and ensure compliance of the country with international standards set for data protection. If properly implemented, this act will give people protection from unauthorized access of their data. Also, through this act, companies has a chance to focus on their weakest spot in protecting customers' data, which will eventually increase the trust rates from their clients. As a health institution, this act will greatly affect SPMC since it processes sensitive personal information most of the time. Being able to guarantee a client that his/her data are being protected at all times is a task that SPMC should handle well. When clients feel confident that their information are safe and secured, it encourages them to provide a complete and accurate data. According to the Republic Act 10173, personal information refers to any information, whether recorded in a material form or not, from which the identity of an individual is apparent, or can be reasonably and directly ascertained by the entity holding the information, or when put together with other information, would directly and certainly identify an individual. Personal information would simply refers to any information associated to a person or describes a person. This includes the name, address, place of work, telephone number, among others shown on the screen. Sensitive personal information are personal information that are sensitive enough to be considered having a specific processing conditions. They are private information. They are considered as sensitive personal information because processing, including collection of these data, needs permission from the data subject or the owner of the data. These includes race, ethnic origin, marital status, age, among others shown in the screen. It is considered as a sensitive data because if these data will be leaked, it might cause discrimination among the data subject. For example, if the failing grade of the student will be leaked, it may cause bullying among his or her classmates. This will be avoided if there is a proper handling of the sensitive personal data. Getting hold of these information makes the processors of these data to re-examine the risks involved from any source, and to fix weakness spots throughout the entire institution and its network. As an employee holding these kind of information of the clients, it could be risky, knowing the high level of sensitivity they are holding. Proper handling and processing must be observed at all times. Given the safety protocols of handling and processing of these sensitive data, the data subject or the owner of the data will gain trust to the institution or processors. We also have what we call a privileged information. These are information which under the rules of court and other pertinent laws constitute privileged communication. This includes data received by a husband and a wife, attorney and its client, priest and penitent, and a doctor and its patient. This is an illustration of an estimated amount of data created on the internet in 1 minute for the year 2021. Imagine the huge amount of data that was collected in just a span of 1 minute. Are these data protected? What are these companies going to do with these data? Are they going to sell it? That's why it is very important to read each terms and conditions before engaging with these internet platforms. Given the mind-blowing of data shared online, which do you think is more valuable? The money or the data? Come to think of it, if the money is worth 1,000 pesos was lost, the value that was lost is only 1,000 pesos. But, if the personal information falls into the wrong hands, it may cost you 1 million or even more, not to mention the damage it will bring to you mentally and emotionally. Because nowadays, data is now considered as the new currency. A piece of your data can be a profit to big companies. You might want to think, what data are you willing to share online? Here's a video clip of the multi-billion industry of data brokers and how they profit from your data.
Things have changed. You see something you like, double tap. You see something you dislike, tweet about it. You're in a relationship, update your relationship status. Want to browse the news? Do it online. Want to find out your credit score? Do it online with a trusted agency. Want to trade stocks? Use an app. Interested in buying some new clothes? Do some online shopping. Want to track your calories? Use an app. Having health problems? Google it. Having relationship problems? Google it. Thinking of going outside? Take your phone with you. What could possibly go wrong?
The depths of this industry, the really darkest corners, have yet to be exposed to any light whatsoever.
This data is going to be taken from you and it is going to be sold.
Every location that you visit physically can be recorded.
This valuable data is now a commodity that is traded amongst a handful of companies.
Here's how it works. Your name, your age, your height, your weight, where you live, where you work, your family, your friends, your likes, your dislikes, your phone number, your email, your health conditions, your buying habits, your credit score, your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, who you text. These are all examples of data points, little bits of information. And those little bits of information are very valuable things. Why, I hear you ask, and valuable to who? Well, advertisers would be a good start. With a large amount of data, an advertiser would know exactly who they should target and how they should target in order to make you buy. Well, thank goodness they don't have access to your data then, right? Wrong, they do have access to your data, and it's not your data anymore. Welcome to the world of data brokers, a $200 billion industry based on selling your personal information to other companies. Right now, you're probably imagining some tech giants like Google or Facebook, but that's not who I'm talking about. As far as we know, those companies don't sell your data. No, I'm talking about the others. I'm talking about more than 4,000 companies in the US alone. Faceless companies that you've probably never heard of, companies that are operating in the shadows with very few rules, gathering all your personal data without you knowing. Information about your health, your buying habits, the restaurants you eat at, the supermarkets that you buy from, then negotiating that very data with other companies for a hefty profit in the millions, all behind your back. I don't know about you guys, but I want a piece of that pie.
This is a reminder to everyone to be mindful on what to share online. Data subject is an individual whose personal, sensitive personal, or privileged information is processed by the organization. In simpler terms, we are the data subjects because we hold personal information like our name, our address, our gender, among others. There are different data subjects held by different offices in an institution. For example, the medical records of a hospital holds the data of patients. Therefore, patients are the data subjects of the medical records. The Human Resource and Management Office, or HRMO, holds the personal information of its employees. Therefore, the employees are the data subjects of the HRMO. The purpose of processing will determine if a data subject belongs to that specific processor. The following are the rights of a data subject. The right to be informed means that anyone has the right to know why the data are being collected and processed. For example, a patient has the right to know why a hospital staff collects his or her data, and the hospital staff are expected to explain it well to the data subject. The right to access means that anyone has the right to request for a copy of any information collected from them, which was stored in the PIC's or PIP's database. For example, an employee wants to access his or her personal data sheet or PDS from the Human Resource Management Office, and the said office is expected to give a copy of such. The right to object means that anyone has the right to object any further processing of his or her data without the data subject's consent unless to be used for legal obligation. For example, a patient may not allow the hospital to use his or her data for research purposes. On the other hand, the legal court may request for the patient's records without the patient's consent for any legal obligations. The right to rectification means that anyone has the right to rectify or to change any incorrect data stored in the data processor's database. For example, an employee wants to correct the misspelled name in his or her records, and the records in charge is expected to update the name by request. The right to erasure or blocking means that anyone has the right to suspend, withdraw, or order blocking, removal, or destruction of his or her personal data. For example, a patient was initially agreed to participate in the conduct of a research, but later on decided to withdraw his or her participation. The patient may request for a deletion of whatever data records he or she shared with the researchers. The right to damages means that anyone has the right to claim compensation if he or she suffered damages due to inaccurate, incomplete, outdated, false, unlawfully obtained, or unauthorized use of personal data. The right to data portability means that anyone has full control of his or her data. It allows him or her to obtain and electronically move, copy, or transfer data in a secure manner according to one's preferences. For example, a patient wants to continue medications to other countries, he or she may request to have a copy of his or her medical records either printed in a paper or stored in an electronic storage device. And lastly is the right to file a complaint, means that anyone has the right to file a complaint to the National Privacy Commission if data has been misused, maliciously disclosed, or improperly disposed, or that any of the data privacy rights have been violated. The National Privacy Commission recognizes the roles of organization in the collection, processing, disposal of data, and its compliance with the Data Privacy Act of 2012. The Personal Information Controller, or PIC, refers to a person or organization who controls the collection, holding, processing, or use of personal information. In our case, SPMC is a personal information controller which is represented by the highest-ranking official of the hospital, the medical center chief. The Data Privacy Act of 2012 requires PIC and/or PIP to appoint a Data Protection Officer, or ADPO. ADPO is an individual designated by the head of the agency to be accountable for the agency's compliance with the Act. For small organizations who processes personal information of its clients, it is impractical to hire a full-time DPO. However, they can still comply with the Act because DPO can be outsourced. The roles and responsibilities of the DPO includes A. Compliance monitoring. B. Ensure conduct of privacy impact assessment, PIA. C. Informing the PIC of complaints. D. Ensure proper management for data breach and security incidents. E. Conduct data privacy awareness. F. Development and revisions of policies and guidelines. G. Serves a contact person of the PIC. H. Coordinate with the NPC. I. Other duties related to data privacy. The Compliance Officer for Privacy, or COP, is an individual designated by the head of agency. The COP can perform all of the functions of the DPO except for compliance monitoring, ensuring conduct of PIA, and informing the PIC of complaints. The COP, however, may assist the DPO in performing these tasks. The DPO and COP shall act independently in the performance of his or her functions, and shall enjoy sufficient degree of autonomy, meaning he or she must not receive instructions from a PIC or PIP regarding the exercise of his or her tasks, because the DPO and the COP are the ones responsible and accountable in making sure of the compliance of each offices, including the office of the PIC and/or the PIP. The Personal Information Processor, or PIP, refers to a natural or juridical person, or any other body to whom a personal information controller may outsource or instruct the processing of personal data pertaining to a data subject. For example, SPMC has a need to outsource the processing of personal information and medical records of patients through the SegHis system by SegWorks. Therefore, SegWorks becomes the Personal Information Processor, or PIP, of SPMC. Can anybody be both a controller and a processor of personal data? The answer is yes. If one controller provides services to other controllers, it is likely that this controller can function both a controller and a processor at the same time. PhilHealth is one good example for this. They are the controllers over the personal data they processed and collected from their clients, and at the same time a processor over data they processed and collected from their partnered hospital. The PIP may process to some extent with respect to PIC provided that it is being stipulated in a data sharing agreement between a PIC and a PIP. It is very important to include a privacy clause in each contract or agreement. This includes the purpose of outsourcing the processing of personal information, duration of the contract, type of personal information to be processed, the obligation of the PIP, and the location of processing, if applicable. As a PIC, SPMC is allowed to process personal data subject to adherence to the following principles: the transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality. If SPMC fails to follow one of these principles, SPMC might be penalized due to negligence. The first principle is transparency. As a data subject, one must be aware of the nature, purpose, and extent of the processing of data. What are the risks and safeguards involved? The identity of the personal information controllers. And of course, one must know the rights as a data subject. In this principle, the right of the data subject to be informed is applied here. In processing the personal information of the data subject, the form of communication or information must be easy to understand, in a clear and plain language. One example of being transparent is posting of privacy notice to hallways or waiting areas, so it can easily be seen by data subjects. If a patient asks why SPMC collects his or her data, SPMC personnel should be able to answer the patient's query in all honesty and with integrity. As to the storage of personal information, it is very important to know how records of data subject are being handled and by whom. Therefore, it is advisable to keep track of those who access, process, and/or alter the data. The second principle is the legitimate purpose. The processing of information shall be compatible with a declared and specified purpose, which must not be contrary to law, morals, or public policy. Processing of data should be matched with the intended purpose. If hospital collects data, it is expected that it is for medical purposes. If a bank collects data, it is expected that is it for money processing purposes. Whatever the manner of collection and processing, it is very important to know the legitimate purpose of such collection and processing of data. If SPMC collects data from a patient, the legitimate purpose are for medical treatment and may be used for payment and claim processing, healthcare operations, mandatory reporting, legal proceedings and enforcement, clinical training and audits, and may disclose to service providers acting in SPMC's behalf. For other purposes not mentioned, like researches and direct marketing, SPMC will obtain permission or consent in either written, electronic, or recorded form. As SPMC's legal mandate to provide healthcare services and act as a training institution, there is no need to get consent from patients before medical care is given to them. There are cases where consent is not needed, when provided for by existing laws, to protect the life and health of a person, for the purpose of medical treatment, when used in court proceedings, and when mandated by the government or public authority. The third principle is proportionality. Processing of information shall be adequate, relevant, suitable, necessary, and not excessive in relation to a declared and specified purpose. Collecting and processing of personal information should not be too much nor too little. If the purpose of collecting data is for medical purposes, SPMC shall not ask for your bank account unless you are using your bank account to pay for bills. On the other hand, if you are an employee and the Human Resource Management Office will not collect your bank account, where will they deposit your salary? So therefore, collection of data shall be in proportion to the declared purpose. There are 3 areas in security measures to consider in an institution: the organizational, technical, and physical. The first security measure is the organizational security. It may consist of internal policies, organizational methods or standards, and controls and audit that controllers and processors can apply to ensure the security of personal data. One measure to consider in organizational security measures is to implement the 5 pillars of data privacy set by the National Privacy Commission. The first pillar is to appoint a data protection officer who should possess a specialized knowledge to monitor compliance with the DPA, its IRR, issuances by the NPC and other applicable laws and policies. The second pillar is to conduct a privacy impact assessment. It identifies and provides an assessment of various privacy risks and proposes measures intended to address them. The third pillar is to develop a privacy management program and privacy manual. It outlines everything that stakeholders need to know about data privacy, and compliance with the Act becomes more manageable. The fourth pillar is to implement privacy and data protection measures. It is how policies are operationalized through procedures and actual practice. The fifth pillar is to regularly exercise breach reporting process. It represents a reminder for the personal information controller and personal information processor to constantly remain prepared for a data breach, as well as other security incidents. In order for SPMC to comply with the requirements from the National Privacy Commission and to spearhead the monitoring of its compliance, SPMC, with its Hospital Memorandum No. 153 Series of 2018, created the Data Privacy Office. Furthermore, by virtue of Hospital Memorandum No. 38 Series of 2018, designated Mr. Gregorio Candelario, Jr. as the Data Protection Officer. The vision of the Data Privacy Office is to increase the confidence of the public, that includes all the data subjects involved, the patients and even employees, in the collection, use, disclosure, retention, and disposal of all personal information. To achieve this vision, the Data Privacy Office has a mission. That is to protect the information rights of our clients and personnel in the information age. Strategic goals were created in line with the mission and vision of the office. First is augment the public's trust and confidence in how personal information and sensitive personal information is used and made available. Second is to improve standards of information rights practice through transparent, inspiring, and targeted engagement and influence. And lastly, to stay relevant, provide excellent public health service and keep updated of changing technology. With this, we are able to attain the vision and the mission of the Data Privacy Office. There are instances that SPMC shares the data of its clients and personnel to other organizations or institutions. To protect these data, an agreement must be made. A data sharing agreement refers to any written contract or agreement that contains the terms and conditions of a data sharing arrangement entered into by SPMC. Any data sharing agreement entered into by SPMC shall substantially contain the terms and conditions. A data sharing agreement shall be executed whenever SPMC discloses or transfers personal data under its custody to other PICs. This is an example of a data sharing agreement between SPMC and other institutions that states the terms and conditions of both parties. A confidentiality and protection clause shall be incorporated into the employment contracts of employees, particularly those who are part of processing SPMC's data. All employees, even after the termination of their relationship with SPMC, shall hold personal data under strict confidentiality unless the data qualifies as public personal data. Alternatively, an employee may be asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement to protect the data given to an employee or any other party. Where SPMC has to collect and process the personal data of a data subject under any contract with such data subject, the contract shall contain a data privacy protection clause. The Data Privacy Office, in cooperation with the Human Resource Management Office and the Professional Education Training and Development Office, are working on incorporating these clauses in the employment contracts of employees and making it sure that researchers are well aware how to handle and protect the data of our clients. These are examples of a non-disclosure agreement. One for employees, consultants, and doctors. The other one is for SPMC affiliates, volunteers, donors, students, and trainers. It creates a legal support to protect the personal information of data subjects from being used to any fraudulent acts. For any data privacy concerns within your office, you may visit the Data Privacy Office, which is located at 2nd floor ER Complex, Main Building, near Virtual Library and CCTV, or you may contact the office at 227-2731 local 5023, or you may send an email at dataprivacyspmc@gmail.com. The second security measure is the technical security. These are the measures and controls afforded to systems and any technological aspect of an organization, such as devices, networks, and hardware. Protecting such aspects is crucial for the security of personal data and is the best line of defense against data breaches. In SPMC, the IHOMP department is responsible in securing the network and data server of the hospital. As an employee of SPMC, the least we could do to protect hospitals' data is to put encryptions or passwords on all our files, especially files containing sensitive personal information. The third security measure is the physical security. It implements robust measures and protocols for securing access to any office or building and ensure that all employees are aware of such controls, which can include CCTV, security lighting and alarms, and access logs. Examples of physical security measures includes limiting access to rooms or workstations containing personal information of clients, designing office space or workstations that no unauthorized personnel can get even a glimpse on your monitor, securing computers against natural disasters, power disturbances, and other threats. Ensure not to place workstations below a water-leaked ceiling. Be vigilant in dealing with documents on foot traffic areas. And be extra careful not to lose any portable devices, such as USB flash disks containing personal information. According to the National Privacy Commission, or NPC, most data breaches were due to employee negligence. Leaving office unlocked is a negligence. Not turning off office appliances before leaving is a negligence. Leaving computers monitor open when you are not around is a negligence. We must always keep in mind the importance of securing personal information of our clients. By following the security measures discussed, we are able to protect our data based on the principles of the CIA triad, which stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The CIA triad is a widely used information security model that can guide an organization's effort and policies aimed at keeping its data secure. The principle of confidentiality is when only authorized users and processes should be able to access or modify data. Unauthorized processes and disclosure of data will result to confidentiality breach. The principle of integrity tells us that data should be maintained in a correct state and nobody should be able to improperly modify it, either accidentally or maliciously. Any alterations in the data without the knowledge of the data subject will be considered an integrity breach. The principle of availability explains to us that authorized users should be able to access data whenever they need to do so. Proper handling of the data is a must because losing data is a ground for availability breach. Personal data breach refers to a breach of security leading to the accidental or unlawful destruction, loss, alteration, unauthorized disclosure of, or access to, personal data transmitted, stored, or otherwise processed. A personal data breach may be in the nature of confidentiality breach, integrity breach, and availability breach. A confidentiality breach resulting from the unauthorized disclosure of or access to personal data. Examples are Nurse 1 orally disclosing medical history of a patient to his friend. Dr. 1 uses patient's records for research purposes without consent. And Admin 1 reveals confidential admin case details to his colleague. Integrity breach resulting from alteration of personal data. Examples are Admin 1 changes her friend's score on qualifying exam to pass. Laboratory staff 1 alters laboratory results of his friend. IT staff 1 modifies the medical records of a patient in the system without permission. An availability breach resulting from loss, accidental or unlawful destruction of personal data. Examples are medical records were lost from the system due to hacking without backup. Medical records were lost due to a fire without backup. IT staff 1 accidentally deleted patient's file in the system. In all of these data breaches being discussed, there are certain effects both on the data subjects and the institution. The data subjects may suffer from financial losses. It may also affect the data subject's emotional and mental health. As for the institution, it could damage the reputation because of the betrayal of trust perception of the public. In order to avoid these data breaches, the organization must reinforce more on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is the practice of defending computers, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and data from malicious attacks. A malicious attack is an attempt to forcefully abuse or take advantage of someone's computer, whether through computer viruses, social engineering, phishing, or other types of social engineering. The video is Anne's story with her experience on cyber attacks and how she could have been avoided these attacks with the help of cybersecurity.
Meet Anne. She often shops from www.shoppingcart.com. She has her information like email ID, address, and credit card details saved on the website to enable a faster and hassle-free shopping experience. The required information is stored in a server. One day, Anne received an email which stated her eligibility for a special discount voucher from shoppingcart.com. In order to receive the coupon code, she was asked to fill in her shoppingcart.com account credentials. This didn't seem fishy to her at the time, as she thought it was just an account verification step. Little did she realize the danger she would be facing. She was knocked off her feet when a substantial amount of money was wiped off her account. How do you think this happened? Well, yes, the email she received was fake. Anne's shoppingcart.com account witnessed unauthorized access from a third party. This type of attack is known as a cyber attack, and the person who carries it out is called a hacker. Could Anne have prevented this attack? Indeed, she could have, with the help of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity involves techniques that help in securing various digital components, networks, data, and computer systems from unauthorized digital access. There are multiple ways to implement cybersecurity, depending on the kind of network you are connected to and the type of cyber attacks you are prone to. So, let's take a look at the various cyber attacks that Anne could have been exposed to. One of the most common types of cyber attacks is a malware attack like Trojan, adware, and spyware, to name a few. Had Anne downloaded any suspicious attachments online, her system could have gotten corrupted by certain malicious viruses embedded within the attachments. Next is a phishing attack, the type of cyber attack which Anne experienced. Here, the hacker usually sends fraudulent emails, which appear to be coming from a legitimate source. This is done to install malware or to steal sensitive data like credit card information and login credentials. Another type of attack is the man-in-the-middle attack. Here, the hacker gains access to the information path between Anne's device and the website's server. The hacker's computer takes over Anne's IP address. By doing so, the communication line between Anne and the website is secretly intercepted. This commonly happens with unsecured Wi-Fi networks and also through malware. Password attack is one of the easiest ways to hack a system. Here, Anne's password could have been cracked by using either common passwords or trying all possible alphabetical combinations. To prevent future cyber attacks, Anne sought to implement a few cybersecurity practices. First, she installed a firewall. As the name suggests, it is a virtual wall between Anne's computer and the internet. Firewalls filter the incoming and outgoing traffic from your device to safeguard your network, and they can either be software applications or hardware reinforcements. Secondly, Anne implemented honeypots. Just like how flowers attract bees, dummy computer systems, called honeypots, are used to attract attackers. These systems are made to look vulnerable in order to deceive attackers, and this, in turn, defends the real system. In addition to these, she also decided to use unique alphanumeric passwords, antivirus software, and started avoiding mails from unknown senders. That was Anne's story.
It is not too late to secure your data from these malicious attacks. Malware attack uses malwares, which is an intrusive software that is designed to damage and destroy computers and computer systems. Malware is a contraction for malicious software. Examples of common malware includes viruses, worms, Trojan viruses, spyware, adware, and ransomware. Phishing attacks are the practice of sending fraudulent communications that appear to come from a reputable source. It is usually performed through email. The goal is to steal sensitive data like credit card and login information or to install malware on the victim's machine. While vishing or voice phishing is a kind of phishing, and it involves a malicious caller claiming to be from tech support, a government agency, or other organization and trying to extract personal information, such as banking or credit card information. The video shows a vishing example.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it. Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. My husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
at gmail.com,
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yeah.
Everyone should be vigilant in taking calls from an unknown person or numbers. Identify the call if it is legit or a fake one before giving out your personal information. A man-in-the-middle attack is a type of eavesdropping attack where attackers interrupt an existing conversation or data transfer. After inserting themselves in the middle of the transfer, the attackers pretend to be both legitimate participants. This enables an attacker to intercept information and data from either party while also sending malicious links or other information to both legitimate participants in a way that might not be detected until it is too late. password attack is simply when a hacker tries to steal your password. In 2020, 81% of data breaches were due to compromised credentials. Because passwords can only contain so many letters and numbers, passwords are becoming less safe. Hackers know that many passwords are poorly designed, so password attacks will remain a method of attack as long as passwords are being used. The screen shows the world's biggest data breaches and hacks as of October 2021. The larger the circle, the more data was leaked. Notice that Philippines Commission on Elections, or the COMELEC, was being part in all of this. It happened last April of 2016 and currently the biggest data breach in our country. Instead of COMELEC, they called it the COMELEC. The data was leaked to an unauthorized individual. The COMELEC is considered to be the worst recorded breach on a government-held personal database in the world, based on sheer volume. So if data subject is a registered voter as of 2016, it is expected that data shared to COMELEC as of this year is at risk. So, what will you do when it happens? How do you report a breach? If you feel that a breach has occurred or is occurring in your office or unit, either confidentiality, integrity, or availability in nature, please inform the Data Privacy Office immediately to prevent it from a further damage. A data breach incident report form will be filled up upon reporting a case to the office. The Data Privacy Office is located at 2nd floor main building near the CCTV office with local number 5023. If you suffered a data privacy violation or a personal data breach, or you are personally affected by the violation of Data Privacy Act of 2012, you may file a complaint affidavit, together with copies of any evidence and witnesses affidavit, and send the electronic copies via complaints@privacy.gov.ph. A penalty is a punishment imposed upon a person who has violated a rule or a law. The following are some of the highlights of the penalties under the Data Privacy Act of 2012. First is the unauthorized processing of personal information and sensitive personal information. It will be imposed on persons who process personal information and sensitive personal information without the consent of the data subject, or without being authorized under this act or any existing law. The penalty would be imprisonment of 1 to 3 years and a fine of 500,000 to 2 million pesos. Second is accessing personal information and sensitive personal information due to negligence. It shall be imposed on persons who, due to negligence, provided access to personal information and sensitive personal information without being authorized under this act or any existing law. The penalty would be imprisonment of 1 to 6 years and a fine of 500,000 to 4 million pesos. Third is concealment of security breaches involving sensitive personal information. It shall be imposed on persons who, after having knowledge of a security breach and of the obligation to notify the Commission, or in your case, the Data Privacy Office, intentionally or by omission conceals or hides the fact of such security breach. The penalty would be imprisonment of 1 year and 6 months to 5 years and a fine of 500,000 to 1 million pesos. For a complete list of penalties under the Data Privacy Act of 2012, you may visit the website of the National Privacy Commission at www.privacy.gov.ph. These are the summary of penalties under the Republic Act 10173. Here is a video from the National Privacy Commission which briefly summarizes the Republic Act 10173.
Nakakaasar, no? Would you believe may naloloko pa rin ito? Minsan ang teknolohiya, hindi puro happy at lucky lang. Pag nakompromiso ang iyong personal information at privacy, maaari itong makasama sa ating finances, ekonomiya, social life, love life at iba pa. Halimbawa, pagbukas mo ng email mo, daming messages na nag-o-offer. Di mo naman knows. Daming stalker ah. Ganito kasi yan, bes. Nag-post ka sa social media. Nag-register ka sa isang event. Hiningi nila yung personal information mo. Dahil excited ka at libre, binigay mo naman. Yung personal info mo, minsan, pinapasa ito para sa profiling o direct marketing. Buti ganyan lang. Paano kung ganito? Shocking, no? Pero don't stress yourself dahil meron na tayong batas dyan. National Privacy Commission ang kakampi mo sa iyong right to privacy. Life goal natin, ang maayos at secure na processing ng personal information mo. Know your rights, Bes. You have the right to be informed, right to object, right to access, right to rectification, right to erasure or blocking, right to damages, right to data portability, at right to file a complaint. Maaari mo itong ipadala sa complaints@privacy.gov.ph. Kung may iba ka pang katanungan, ipadala sa info@privacy.gov.ph. Galing, di ba? At kung may magkakasala, National Privacy Commission din ang kakampi mo. At may kaparusahan sa paglabag ng right to privacy mo. Bes, ikaw lang ang pwedeng magsabi kung kanino ka magtitiwala. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng privacy. Visit www.privacy.gov.ph.
According to the National Privacy Commission, there are 30 ways to love yourself online. 1. Create strong passwords. Strong passwords are at least 12 characters long and contain a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and if possible, symbols. 2. Never use the same password on multiple accounts. 3. Lock your device. 4. Always log out of browsers. 5. Make sure there is an HTTPS in the browser address bar. 6. Do not log in on personal accounts on free public Wi-Fi. 7. Install an antivirus and update it. 8. Don't click on pop-ups or virus warnings. 9. Install an ad blocker to lessen browser pop-ups. 10. Have you been pawned? Check out https://haveibeenpawned.com/pawned websites to see if you've availed of compromised services online. If, by any chance, you have, change your passwords immediately. 11. Clean up your Facebook third-party apps. While they are a fun way to find games or see which celebrity you look like, third-party apps on Facebook can and too often send your personal data to at least 25 outside companies, so it is definitely a good idea to remove permissions from unnecessary ones. 12. Clean up your Facebook groups. The more Facebook groups you join, especially the big open ones, the more likely you are vulnerable to identity thieves. 13. Set up your Facebook privacy settings. Not everyone has to know what you're doing every minute of the day, especially if it's information on your vacation details or bank accounts. 14. Unfriend Facebook friends you don't know personally. 15. Update your Facebook timeline and tagging settings. 16. Don't be too public. While sharing details about your life can be fun and exciting, there are just some things you should never, ever share on social media. Things like your home address, vacation details, ticket numbers, and the layout of your house should always be kept private. 17. Check and clean up your spam folder. 18. Be wary of phishing emails. 19. Avoid using work email addresses for personal matters. 20. Unsubscribe from unwanted newsletters. 21. Clean up your browser extensions. 22. Delete your browsing data. 23. Uninstall unwanted programs from your PC. 24. Back up your files and data. The threat of ransomware has been growing through phishing emails and pop-up ads. Ransomware is when a hacker locks your computer down and threatens to wipe out your data if you don't pay up. 25. Keep your software up to date. 26. Check and use firewalls. 27. Secure your wireless network. 28. Store personal and financial documents securely. Never access your personal and financial documents in internet cafes or public computers. Additionally, when storing your extra sensitive files, save them in one folder, compress with a password, and delete the original folder for extra safekeeping. 29. Be mindful of devices with company data on them. 30. Pass this on. Help your loved ones love themselves. Show your love to friends and family by introducing them to good personal data privacy practices to keep them safe off and online. We made some social media exercises for you to practice in protecting your social media privacy. Facebook can reveal a lot about you to anyone who visits your profile. If your posts are public, everyone can see whatever you share. The first exercise is the View As feature of Facebook. Follow the steps as directed. Step 1. Go to your Facebook profile page. Step 2. Click the 3 dots shown below your profile photo. Step 3. Select View As with an eye icon from the list. Your profile reloads to show you how it looks like to the public. You may now decide if you want these posts to stay public or change your privacy settings. The second exercise is the View Applications linked to Facebook. Follow the steps as directed. Step 1. Go to your Facebook mobile app. Step 2. At the top, click on the icon with 3 horizontal lines. Step 3. Scroll down and click the Settings and Privacy. Step 4. Select Settings. Step 5. In the Permissions section, select Apps and Websites. You can see a list of apps and websites connected to your Facebook account. You may now decide to remove permissions to these apps and websites or stay connected with these third-party apps and websites. The third exercise is the View Cell phone numbers and email address linked to Facebook. Follow the steps as directed. Step 1. Go to your Facebook mobile app. Step 2. At the top, click on the icon with 3 horizontal lines. Step 3. Scroll down and click the Settings and Privacy. Step 4. Select Settings. Step 5. In the Account section, select Personal and Account Information. Step 6. Select Contact Info. You can see a list of cell phone numbers and email addresses connected to your Facebook account. You may update your contact info by deleting cell phone numbers and email addresses you no longer use or you are unfamiliar with, and adding your latest cell phone numbers and email addresses. In addition to securing the data online, here is another tip in protecting a work-related data. Look at the picture. Someone says somebody threw out these papers with patients' information in the trash. Is it okay to recycle them for scrap paper? The answer is no. Let us not compromise these sensitive personal information of our patients. So what to do with these papers? If the paper containing sensitive personal information was intended to put in a trash, let us shred these paper into pieces. If it was stored in a hard drive, destroy it as shown in the picture. This video tells us that it doesn't need to be an IT expert to protect data. What is needed is a common sense and smart thinking.
Information security works best when you pause, think, and act. Common sense and smart thinking can protect information sometimes even better than technology can. For example, when connecting to a Wi-Fi in public places.
No. No. Yes.
Always connect to a secure encrypted Wi-Fi hotspot. When you are in a crowded place.
Hello. Sir, what's the final price we are bidding for the contract?
Give me a moment.
Never discuss sensitive business information in a crowded place. When you leave your work desk.
No, wait, did I forget something?
Always lock your computer screen when you are leaving your work desk. While participating in social media. Never disclose any sensitive business information in social media while leaving the printer bay. Pick up all the printouts immediately after printing. Do not leave it unattended. As you can see, you don't need technology to protect information all the time. All you need to do is pose, think, and act.
Thank you for your participation in this data privacy orientation. We hope you enjoy it and learn something meaningful today. To improve our services in the Data Privacy Office, we provided a link for the evaluation form. Kindly fill it up together with the assessment form in order for you to receive your e-certificate. The link will be flashed at the upper right corner of this video. Good luck and God bless.